Hi everyone, welcome to the AI Community Learning Program, a global peer powered initiative powered by Microsoft Teams, where learners, educators, and creators come together to explore, experiment, and grow in the age of AI. This community is all about learning by doing together. As part of our Expert Talk series, we are excited to welcome Dr. Michael Harvey, Director of E-Learning at Marlborough Boys College in New Zealand. Michael has led national efforts to integrate AI into education, presented FETC in Florida, and brings deep experience in digital innovation, curriculum leadership, and making AI practical in classrooms and beyond. In today's session, we will explore how to create Gemini Gems, custom AI powered micro tools that can simplify your workforce, boost creativity, and supercharge productivity. Whether you are in education, content creation, or just curious about building your Gemini, you will walk away with real examples, ready to use templates, and the confidence to design your own AI powered tools. Without further ado, let's dive in and turn your AI into your daily ally. Michael, over to you.
Good morning from New Zealand. 3:30 in the morning here, but still, let's push on forward. I've only got half an hour to speak to you, so let's just rock straight into the presentation. Okay, so I'm just going to share my PowerPoint. Okay, so you should be able to see that now. Okay, so basically today I'm going to unearth Gemini Gems through the medium of Indiana Jones. So basically this presentation is going to explore the innovative concept of Gemini Gems, at least in education, but can be applied directly into other fields. And it's inspired by the spirit of Indiana Jones. And we'll delve into how the theme can enhance at least student engagement while achieving educational objectives in my educational context, but also how it can enhance your experience with artificial intelligence as well. Okay, so I won't play the theme, but there we go. Okay, so essentially what we will basically cover, at least how I've used it, and then you can extend it to other things, is basically the concept and theme development, how to design the Gemini Gems, how I implemented it. Oh, that's a bit too fast. Go back to the last slide. How I implemented it, the challenges and solutions, at least in my context, and you can kind of reflect on that and see how you can use it in your context as well, and future prospects and enhancements. Okay, so in the age of Simon Sinek providing the why. So the foundation of any adventure lies in a concept and a theme. So this short section will discuss how I draw inspiration from Indiana Jones to create a captivating environment using small language models or agents. So in terms of Indiana Jones, so Indiana Jones represents adventure, curiosity, and exploration. And that's kind of like the way I like to see the use of artificial intelligence. The idea is by channeling this spirit, we can inspire people and inspire yourself to engage in learning about these gems with excitement and enthusiasm. That is the plan. Okay, right. So basically, why am I doing this? What is the logic behind it? So it's basically crucial to set the why of why we're doing this adventure, and these objectives or this kind of idea behind it will hopefully guide the design and ensure that we are using it effectively. So the reason why I looked at small language models was due to conversations at FETC with Dr. Saba Kudwai and her looking at Microsoft's 2025 Work Trend Index report. So essentially the first phase when we started using AI, we had a human with an AI assistant. So the plan is that every employee like us has a little AI assistant that helps them work better and faster. And then phase two is going to be kind of where I'm transitioning at the moment, is human agent teams. So now these small language models, these agents are joining teams as digital colleagues, and they're taking on specific tasks at human direction. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at and where we should be at the moment. And the idea is it's sort of transition to phase 3. At least this is what Microsoft is seeing in the future of work, to human-led, agent-operated. So the humans are setting the direction at the high end, and the agents are executing business processes and workflows and checking in as needed. So when I show the example at the end of how to do that, that's kind of where I'm at. So basically the human has the higher order control, but the agents are doing the heavy lifting. Okay, so that's kind of the changing, not even educational landscape, that's the changing landscape of work as seen by that particular report. Okay, it's also based around the AI mindset, which can be directly applied to education, but can be basically applied to any organization. So we've already heard of Carol Dweck's work, or some of us have, in education around growth mindset. So the idea is that we have begin with a fixed mindset. So kids or your staff members or you yourself have basically no hope and no agency. And the idea of Carol Dweck's work was to then add that to a growth mindset. So there you had hope, but no help and limited agency. And then we're moving to an AI mindset where you have hope, and due to these small language models, you also have support now, and therefore you also have agency. So that's kind of the AI mindset. So kind of evolving from the growth mindset. Okay, so this next section, of course, is how to design these Gemini gems where creativity meets a strategy. Okay, so this section will explore how to create these compelling small language models and interactive elements that enhance your experience. So it's all down to a particular model. So this is generic. It can be applied not just to education, but to other small language models. So basically, these are the instructions in the generic context that you put into the instructions in the small language model, which hopefully I'll have time to show. And so basically, you've got the persona. So what the persona is doing is basically giving an idea of what the small language model is. Okay, so he's a team leader, or she's a team leader, or it's a team leader. By giving it identity and characteristics, you're basically specifying what that small language model or gem's role and expertise is, and you're including any unique traits or attributes. Okay, so for example, your gem's identity could be an excellent reply back to emails, and basically you're a high quality reply back to emails. That's off the top of my head at 3 in the morning. Then we've got purpose and goals. So now you're outlining the main objectives of what your gem is going to do. You're going to describe the desired outcomes, mention any specific tasks and functions that gem does, and then moving on to context. You're going to provide background information relevant to the task you want that gem to do, include any situational details and constraints, and then behaviors and rules. Specify the expected conduct and actions of your small language model, include any guidelines or interactions or responses that it will do, and mention any limitations or boundaries that your gem might have. And then finally, language and tone. It's basically how it's going to interact with the person using it. So define the style and manner of the communication, specify the desired tone. Is it going to be friendly or professional? So for example, if your gem you're going to share with colleagues, you're probably going to be more professional, whereas ones that you're using yourself, you can be a little bit more friendly and a bit more informal. And include any language preferences and requirements. Okay. The other thing you can do with gems is to reduce the amount of hallucinations. You can upload basically resources from your Google Drive or directly from your computer, like PDF and image files or Google Documents. Plays nicely with the Google framework. but does struggle a little bit with Word documents, but you can obviously change those into Google documents. And this helps reduce the hallucinations, as I said, making your small language model, your gem, more accurate. Okay. So in terms of my own experiences, implementing it with my own staff, again, looking back at like the previous example in the Microsoft, basically making it a team now of gems working with teachers. So in my particular case, we had small language models for literacy, small language models for assessment kind of feedback, small language models to how to email parents, how to email staff. Okay, so basically each teacher creates his own suite or her own suite of small language models, which are then part of a team that she's or he is in charge of, which is kind of improving their workflows. But successfully implementing these Gemini Gems in our context required thoughtful strategies. And so this section will discuss how to engage your staff through technology and these small language models to enhance outcomes. Okay, so where are we? So in terms of engaging my own staff, basically the four main things looking at it was efficiency. So because GEMs require less computational power and resources because they're small language models rather than large language models, it makes them easier to deploy and manage within an organization. I'd suggest also another thing you could possibly look at is rather than using Gemini as an approach, you could use open source ones, which then just really lock down to your organization, but that's another level. I won't go into that today. Customization. The advantage of these small language models is by getting staff to work in the back end and create their own small language models, they're basically tailored to the individual staff member and the task and context of that staff member, allowing for more personalized and relevant interactions with that staff member. Scalability. They can be scaled across different departments and teams without significant infrastructure change, because basically it's the process that we're looking at rather than the individual small language models. And they're also very user-friendly. So staff interacting with these models in a straightforward manner. And that reduces the need for PD because you can basically create a small language model that can provide PD for your staff as well, and reduces the need for that technical expertise. So halfway through, geez, this goes very fast. So in terms of challenges and solutions, so obviously it's going to come with challenges. Not everything is going to be perfect. So this section, at least we'll just go through, at least in my context, the copy, common obstacles and effective strategies used to overcome them and ensure a successful implementation in your organization. So the major issue we had is being able to strike the right balance between offloading thinking to the artificial intelligence. So looking at the three major issues around over-reliance with artificial intelligence. So basically striking a balance between relying on AI then human judgment. So for example, the small language models we used for moderating student work, that sparked conversations between colleagues rather than just relying completely on the artificial intelligence. I would not ever recommend that because the AI does hallucinate and humans are working with the children and you're working with your colleagues and your clients as well. And that's the second point. So by engaging with these small language models, basically you're also sharing best practice by having those conversations with colleagues around it. So again, basically having a meeting and that small language model is basically a team member who you're conversing with or your group is conversing with and trying to get advice from or getting information from. But at the end of the day, it is the human at the center who's making the decisions. And at least constant review of these small language models ensures that the core learning objectives are achieved effectively, at least in the educational context. So basically, future prospects and enhancements. So looking ahead, there are numerous opportunities to enhance Gemini Gems concept. And so this final section will explore basically the expanding adventure and incorporating new ideas and technologies. So in terms of expanding the gems, so basically looking to introduce new contexts for the gems. Teachers can create tools that can transform education, and just like you in your organizations, you can create tools that are going to transform the way that you work. Expanding the use of gems as a thought partner, that's the key point. It's basically a different way of looking at artificial intelligence. So rather than being transactional, like make me a PowerPoint, you're basically critiquing the work with your you're basically a small language model as a thought partner, just bouncing ideas off each other to try and synergize between the human and the artificial intelligence to get better outcomes overall. And what I really want to do is expand it to students, so students start building their own gems and sharing them and engage beyond the classroom. And that's the potential for collaboration and expansion. So collaboration between educators, sharing their best gems, seeing how they're doing it. So again, the same thing in your organization, if you're sharing how you're using it and how you can share that with your colleagues to improve their row 4 error not found. Oh, it must be the feedback. In terms of enhancing the teaching experience, fostering creativity in the classroom, fostering creativity and collaboration in your workspace. The idea of sharing resources using these small language models. So again, the idea of providing potentially PD through these gems, and at least in the student context and educational context, collaboration using gems can expand opportunities for a diverse range of your students and your clients and your co-workers, enhancing the outcomes for your organization. At least that is the plan. So at least in the conclusion of this section, with 10 minutes to go, TikTok, 3 major points is that the Gemini Gems concept creates engaging AI thought partners to assist your effectiveness in your organization or your own effectiveness. Basically, blending the gems with education encourages teachers to explore subject matter in different exciting ways. So in other contexts, that would be allowing your co-workers to think of ideas or get ideas that they haven't even thought of to solve problems, and inspires the agency of your workers and yourself to reignite their desire in their profession. Okay, so I'm just going to show quickly in the last 10 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes if there's any questions. I'll stop sharing. There you go, stop presenting. Quickly, just how you create these Gemini gems. So I'll just share my window. Inbox, that one. Oh, well, you'll see my email inbox for 5 seconds. Okay, right. Oh, what's doing here? Jumped up there. You go. So basically what we've got is you go to the Explore Gems part here. Let's get rid of this thing. It's really annoying. Put it at the bottom. Okay, and basically what you're doing is you're creating a new gem over here. Okay, so you're basically giving it a name. So I'm going to create now a gem, a small language model that helps me reply back to basically clients in a work environment. So my email guru, why not? Okay, and then I will just show you basically what it looks like. So what you do, you put it in the instructions. So basically here you are, you've got your Echo, you're an AI assistant specializing in the client communications for whatever company it is. Okay, you're creating draft email replies. So you're giving it a persona. So here we go, this is the role. You're an expert client success specialist. You're not a robot or generic chatbot. You're knowledgeable and reliable about the extension of your team. Your attributes are you're helpful and proactive. You're empathetic and patient. You're knowledgeable and confident. And basically you're polished and professional. You give it the gem purpose. So your primary purpose is to model an increase in the efficiency and consistency of our client communications. Your goal is to generate, for every generated email, is to resolve, clarify, reassure, retain, provide a context. That's going to be the input that the person's going to be providing when it's creating the email. And there we go. So so there's basically an example there of the rules. So strict directives. So it gives a clear structure of what every email would look like. Okay, so rather than the person constantly having to write emails, the agent is doing it for them based on the information that the human is giving his or her agent. And never invent information, so there I put their hallucination aspect in there. Content must be self-contained. Never ask for sense information, so using formatting. And finally, tone and language. Be clear, not clever. Use simple, direct language. And there we go. So that's just the basic back-end instructions. Okay. And there you can also, we'll just put that down there. Okay, so you can also, with Gemini, you can rewrite it using the AI Gemini if you just do bare bones. So you can actually flesh it out using artificial intelligence as well in terms of the instructions. And you can add files at will. So you can either upload files or add from a drive to add more relevancy and reduce the hallucinations based on your small language model. Okay, and then all you have to do is on this box you can test it. So I'm just going to now test it live and hope it works. The wonders of generative AI. Okay, so we'll see what it actually looks like. Here you go. Now it is creating slowly thinking at 3 in the morning, as I am. And hopefully, there we go. Hello, I'm Echo AI Assistance. Okay, so basically it's now asking for information about the email that you're going to send. So then it's going to use that information to generate a complete draft for your review, and then you can send it out. So that's just an example of using Gemini Gems, and I do now have time, with 7 minutes left, for questions. So I'm just going to go back to the meeting. Oop. And I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. So yeah, that was a very quick overview, I must admit, around creating Gemini Gems. So is there any questions? Let's just check the chat. Oh, okay, I can definitely share that prompt in the chat. There we go. That was easy. Okay, so don't know if you can go off your mic if you want. We've only got a few minutes left, so efficiency. Just going to look at the chat to see if there's any particular questions. Hi everyone, hello from Seattle. John from the West, I know John. Facilitator, yep, hello. Franco, buenos dias. Yep. There's the prompt. Okay, here we go. So let's go back down there and, oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, so that's basically very briefly how I'm using Gemini Gems. The similar things you can do. Yeah, expansion of Gemini. Expansion, open question to track. Expansion of Gemini Gems to students and organizations needs further clarification, does it? Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically the idea is expanding the Gemini Gems. So basically for mine, it's sharing the conversations with teachers first, so they get used to it. And then on August 13th, at least in the Google world, students will have access to Gems. So it's possible they can create their own small ones. So yeah, basically training them up on this, and so they can start to use it for their own use as well. So that's using the power of AI for their learning. So that's the plan. Like there's somebody's hand up. Okay, so Hatis has a question. So I don't know if you can access your mic, but can you ask it? Yeah. Okay.
Can I? Okay, thank you so much.
Go for it.
My question, hey everyone, by the way, thank you very much for this very practical session, Michael, and the organization team. My question is about the file that we are sharing with the gem. Can we share a dynamic drive link? Because, for example, let's say I want to use this agent for my course that I'm teaching. It's an elective course in the department. And, we constantly update content, especially with courses that are influenced with the recent changes all the time. So I don't want to have my document dynamic. Sorry, static, the content I'm sharing.
Yeah.
It's constantly updated. So instead of a PDF file, which is static, I want to share a Drive link that takes it to the document. Like whenever I update my content, gem will be updated. Is it possible?
Not with Gemini, but it might be possible with Copilot because they use web access rather than a static image or a static document. So so it's basically using the right tool for the right job. So if you want to do that, I'd suggest having a look at the Microsoft Copilot agents. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Pooja, yeah. Go for it.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for the wonderful session. It was very helpful indeed. I'm just looking for some real world inspiration. Do you have, certain use cases in mind, which would be really good to do right now? What are the challenges that we face in this context today from the perspective of teachers and students? Just looking for some inspiration to build something.
Yeah, so basically what I've been doing from a teaching perspective is it's grading assistance. So basically we sit in meetings and the AI small language model is basically we're putting the student work through using our private accounts or our business accounts, which we get in New Zealand, because obviously AI privacy, the students have to have their data locked in. And then we're looking at the responses, and that's the conversation starter for the actual marking process. That's one way we're doing it. The other thing we're doing is, at least for my staff, is that we have assessments with literacy and numeracy for 14 and 15-year-olds. And so basically all of our staff are not trained in literacy. So the small language model is providing PD and giving suggestions of how to construct tasks for literacy and numeracy within the context of that particular teacher's classroom. So that's just two ways off the top of my head that we're using it in the classroom. My dream is for students to be able to use it as well, and hopefully the changes, at least in Gemini, in August, allow that. But just wait and see, really. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Michael. And do you have any control mechanism in terms of, placing restrictions or guardrails, especially when you, get students to use these gems? Because today we're seeing a lot of issues where students use AI for their actual work and submissions. And how is this being handled? How do you kind of have that balance?
Well, that's a broader question. Again, I would throw it back to the work of Sabah Kudwai. We're having these conversations a lot online at the back end. I think we need to be throwing it back on the students to do a bit of metacognition. So we're actually challenging the students. So are you using your tool for learning? Get them to think about it. Also, I think there has to be a reimagination of assessment, but that's another conversation possibly for another time. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So, any more questions? Oh, okay. There's no more questions. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm not sure if this is being recorded. I hope it is. But yeah, it was great to have these conversations. And if you want to contact me, I'm available on social media everywhere. So I'll just put my socials in there. So that's on X and Instagram. And I think I'm known as MJ Harvey on LinkedIn. Here we go. Just got to try and find that there. So yeah, if you want to continue the conversations further for the session, I'm more than welcome to answer any questions. Cool.
Thank you so much, Michael. This was great. Thank you for obliging my request and doing this. All the session is recorded, and if you could share me the slide deck, I'll upload even that along with the recording. I have shared the link of our YouTube channel, so do make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you have the updated session recordings. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great, wonderful day. See you tomorrow. We have another event tomorrow. I think, let me share this. Do join. Okay, check our events calendar, and we have a lot of our upcoming events. Make sure you subscribe, and then so that you can register and then join all our future events. Thank you so much. Have a great, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll send that email now, and I'm just now going to head off back to sleep. Yay.